Yo, here we go. Creative Tony, I say good day to you, sir. And by the way, already I've got immediate comments and reactions on your new look as I say good morning to Creative Tony on this beautiful Tuesday here in the Bay Area, the greater Bay Area. Creative Tony, I look over at you now. I like my Creative Tony furry. I'm not going to lie. I do. I like a nice furry face on you. And yesterday I had the wisps of gray. You're all dignified looking, and now you're like a 5-year-old kid ready to go to first grade class. So what happened? Where's my beard on Creative Tony?
It's an itchy thing, dude.
Well, listen, you got to fight through that now. It's going to pass. I encourage you to fight through. You know, you're a veteran of beards. You know what you're doing.
I know. I always get to a point where it just gets itchy, man. I'm like, oh, I got to shave this thing. And I never go fully down to the bone, but
to the bone.
So there's some stubble there.
Hey, shout out Aerosmith off Night in the Ruts. Shout out a great track called Bone to Bone.
Dude.
I just want to shout that one out. That's a great groove.
This thing's giving the dog a bone.
That's AC/DC.
That's what it is.
It's on back.
Thank you.
By the way, think about that track. Giving the dog a bone, bro.
Hey, dude. Hey, real quick, right out of the gates, we're going right to the comment line because I want to welcome in a new viewer.
Yeah.
And thank you all for your comments. Keep them coming. You guys are just as much as the show as we are. But Winks finally made it. Let's go.
Hey, that's my main man. That's Jeff Winkler. Look at
there he is, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, cheers, Winks. By the way, he had his hands in that fabulous open that you just watched. He did all the art direction and all the images. And I got to say, in our really cool open that starts every show, Tony, I think my favorite image is the one where you see Bob Weir kicking his knee and looking over at, And that I know the gig. I was at that gig. That was the Fare Thee Well gig in Chicago. Bobby got all wound up during throwing stones. He was throwing kicks. He was snapping his neck. And then he had a little face-off with Trey Anastasio. They went to the center of the stage, and they were like doing neck snaps at each other. It was a lot of fun. Now, big show today, Creative Tony. We have a special guest coming up.
Yes.
In just a couple of minutes in Rod Brooks. But I also have a couple of housekeeping items I got to get to because a lot happened between yesterday's show and today. So do you have anything else at the outset of the show today you want to get out before I get into these announcements?
Just reminders of where they can find us in the audio version. Just look up Polymax Particles wherever on Spotify and iHeart and Apple Podcasts. And also, just check out the YouTube channel if you're not already on there right now. And we'll be broadcasting live, coming at you live every day. And we're stoked, and we'd love to have all of you here. And hey, like we were talking yesterday, just ground floor up, man. And it takes a village, as they say. Certain cliches apply.
And shout out Village of the Damned if we're getting into villages. Great villages. By the way, isn't there a Westlake Village as well? Can I go ahead and shout out your old stomping grounds?
There is a Westlake Village, correct. Shout out Original Joe's in Westlake.
How do you feel about me saying this now? I mean, this might be a little bit taboo, but I might be partial to the Westlake Joe's.
Ooh.
I know. I'm just talking now.
Oh,
but
dude, you're preaching the choir here, buddy. I'm a Westlake Joe's head.
Now that's the one that has like that special bar with all the 49er stuff in there, right? By the front when you walk in, there's that bar to the left.
To the left, yes.
Yeah, and it's got all that Niner gear, like retro Niner stuff, right? Am I right about
some Niner stuff in there, but they remodeled too. But they also have a ton of stuff, frame stuff on the walls. And it's just Original Joe's. Check them out in North Beach or Westlake. I think they're in Walnut Creek now too, man. So check them out.
Well, I do like the North Beach location also, which was one of the locales for one of our hot and sour picks this year. We shot right outside Original Joe's. Remember that by the Italian Heritage Cultural Center and all that?
Yeah.
Had you coming out of the church and everything, dude. Well, yeah, we were rolling the dice on some of that. Creative Tony walking out of a church shooting scenes.
Nice.
We confused a lot of people that day. There were a lot of churchgoers that were wondering what our intentions were. All right, Creative Tony, let me get into a couple quick things, and I want to bring in Rod Brooks, one of our favorite guys. For starters, now, Tony, after the show yesterday, I stumbled backwards into a gig. Suddenly, I got a gig this Thursday.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about this because this is a great lineup. So this Thursday night, I will be doing an acoustic set at Max. How appropriate is that? The name of the joint I'm playing is Max.
Paulie, when the universe speaks, sometimes you just got to listen.
Yeah, no, and this was all arranged by my good buddy Michael Altman, who's a good friend of Barry Sless, and I'll explain all this. But I will be doing an acoustic set this Thursday night.
Hold on a second. Michael from Iron Springs, Michael?
That's correct. That's my
Yes.
yeah, he's like the mayor of Fairfax as far as
Yes,
I'm
he
concerned.
is.
He runs the whole area.
Had a great
So
brewery in Fairfax too. The Iron Springs Pub. That was a great spot.
well, yeah, and this is right up the street from there. So this is Max at
Great.
19 Broadway in Fairfax. It's like a quarter mile from Iron Springs, right up the street there. And check it out, Tony. I'm doing an acoustic set starting at 7:30. I'm going to be opening for this collection of musicians called Rattlebox. It includes Doug Harmon, Lauren Rowan, Mookie Siegel, and my main man Barry Sless on guitar.
Nice.
And Barry Sless, for those of you who don't know, Barry Sless is longtime associate of the Grateful Dead guys. He played in a bunch of Phil and Friends lineups, and he is now currently one of the guitar players in Bob Weir's band, the Wolf Brothers. So if you ever see the Wolf Brothers out there, Barry Sless is in that band, and I'm like honored to be opening for him. And he's jammed with us before. Barry's so cool, dude. He comes up with his tank top. He's got the muscles going, and he'll just jump in on pedal steel and make everything you're playing sound a million times better. And believe
There's
me,
Barry, Paulie. I just want to show everybody Barry. There's Barry.
That's my guy, Barry.
Yes, I also want to give props to Bob Minkin for the pick. That's a great pick. And there's Barry right there. Yes, amazing guitarist.
No, dude, unbelievable. I shouldn't even be on the same stage that he's walking on because I'm nowhere near his talent level. But he's a great guy, and I'm looking forward to playing Thursday night. So come on out and check out some music. I'll do the acoustic set, and then Barry takes over after I warm up the crowd. All right, that's one thing. And then second thing, before I bring in Rod Brooks, we are going to talk about the Rams game a little bit last night. That thing got out of hand quick. Of course, Sam Darnold got his head kicked in last night, bro.
Yes, he did.
I really felt bad for the guy. He's had such a great year. Now they drafted that quarterback from Michigan. So isn't it incredible that Sam Darnold won 14 games this year? The Vikings get blown out in the first round, and he might be looking for a new gig next year.
You know what's crazy, dude? Is J.J. McCarthy going to come in and throw 35 touchdowns like Darnold did this year?
No way.
Or
no way.
For 4,300 yards like Darnold did this year? Come on.
No, it's going to take time. Those rookie quarterbacks, it takes time. So
like Boy George said, time won't give me time, Paul.
Don't even get me going on Boy George and Culture Club because I'll stay here all day with you. I have a Culture Club. I got Culture Club Greatest Hits. It's got one. It's got all the Karma Chameleon and
yes.
And then on the other, it's a double album, and on the other album, it's a whole live set, bro. So I actually own Live Culture Club, but we'll get more on that later. On a serious note, Tony, this is the last thing I want to say before we bring in Rod Brooks. One of the big stories, not only of the NFL, it was the relocation of that Rams game last night. They had to go to Arizona, and they bust out the front office. They bust out a lot of fans. It was really kind of touching, actually. And the fans, I mean, they need something positive to hold on to. So that part of me was glad that the Rams won. Now, I think there's a lot of people maybe watching the show or just in general asking themselves, how can I help? I want to do something for all the people that are suffering in Southern California. What can I do? What can I do? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pass along some information today. I'll do this for the rest of the week, a couple more shows, Thursday and Friday. My good buddy Barry, who runs Red Devil Records up here in San Rafael on 4th Street, which is a great record shop, by the way. I shop there all the time. I've spent half my life savings in his store, buying Black Sabbath albums and other stuff. But anyway, it's a great record store. Barry's a great guy. And Barry is actually assisting with some relief efforts here. So I want to pass this along. If you're asking, what can I do? How can I be sure that my donations are going to get to their final destination? Here's what you're going to do. So I'm just going to read from Barry's newsletter. It says, anyone looking for people in Southern California are looking for used clothing for men, women, and children. And you dropping off donations at Barry's shop on 4th Street. Again, it's Red Devil Records at 894 4th Street. It's happening through Sunday, 11 to 6 p.m. every day. You don't need an appointment. You can come on by, and they're especially looking for teenage boys' clothing. Again, teenage boys' clothing. So if you have old stuff from your kids they're not using, this would be a great time to show the charitable side of your personality. Again, stop by Red Devil Records on 4th Street here in San Rafael between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. all week long through Sunday and drop off clothing, and they will get shipped down to the Los Angeles area, and they will get to the right people. So again, I hope that helps. I hope you find it within yourself. Yeah, if you have anything you can do to chip in, I'll be down there too. I'm going to be going down tomorrow with a box of donations, a box of clothing. So anything else you can do to assist would be greatly appreciated. All right, Creative
Yes,
Tony.
and also when you're at Red Devil Records, pick up some wax, pick up some records while you're there. Drop off some gear and pick up some wax. Barry's a great dude and a great store. And yeah, go ahead, P.
No, you finish up.
Well, and I just wanted to say, like, I'm looking at the comment section. I just wanted to say hello to some people, some new faces or some new names, real quick. Gizmo, what's up? All right, Leo, welcome back. Yeah, Winks, I would said the man who made our show open. Welcome to the show, Winks.
Yeah.
Tag Sports Club, Escobar the Third, Marcel Pantaleon. What a name! That's a great name. Just want to welcome some of the new names we're seeing on here, and thank everybody else who's been on board. Man, we're gonna get you in the mix when we get Rod Brooks in the mix too.
Yeah, we got. I see Leah Phillips is in the house. Also, Dominic Peralta, he's out there doing his thing, and my guy Winks already dropping science. He says, guys, if you're talking Culture Club, you got to shout out Church of the Poison Mind.
Ooh, that's
yes. A jam. That's a ferocious jam now.
It is.
Church of the Poison Mind. Got
that I gotta look up who does the vocals on that.
I don't know, but she's going ape shit. She's going off in the background. That girl singing that.
Yeah, the Church of the Poison Mind. I mean, man, and Boy George still going strong, by the way. I think
you know what? I back him. I'm backing him. I got his back. Me and Boy, dude.
Hey man, I am thrilled to have grown up in the 80s, dude. I people bash the 80s. I love the 80s. I dove in head first. We talked about it yesterday. Makeup, hair bands, all the the new wave, they called it, you know, all that stuff. I was knee deep in it. Howard Jones, Thompson Twins, Depeche Mode,
maybe if I may, how about a little Missing Persons? You know what I mean? A little missing
persons. Sure. Let's go.
Sure. How about some Berlin riding on the metro? We'll go all day on this. Speaking of guys who grew up in the 80s, this would probably be a good time to bring in our guest for today's show. He's a colleague of ours. He's a friend of ours for a very long time. And you watch him now throughout the 49er season on the pre and post on NBC Sports Bay Area. He's with Ramirez and Dante Whitner, and Rod is kind of the anchor to me, keeping that whole thing grounded and together. So let's bring him in, Creative Tony. He is Rod Brooks. He is dude. Look at Rod Brooks. Look at RB. What is up, RB? How you doing, man?
Look at you guys, man. Everything sound good? You guys got me? We all good?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You sound real good. Yeah.
Several things. Obviously, you know, I mean, we family. We're not friends. We're family. We've been knowing each other now close to 30 years.
I know. It's crazy. I know. What the hell?
To be
I know.
exact. So for us to still be on God's green earth, breathing his or her air, we don't know. And still be friends and still doing this thing we do, albeit in different spaces, television and YouTube. It's an absolute blessing. Let me say a few things first.
Yeah.
Boy George.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Yeah.
Miracle is a jam. And let me tell you something.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. Yeah.
Growing up, you know, in the inner cities and seeing Boy George on my TV screen, I didn't know quite what to make of it, but it didn't matter because I was all in then. I was all in now. Missing Persons, Walking in LA, I think is their best song. Words is a great song.
Okay,
Walking in LA is their absolute best song. Now, number 3, and I normally do this at the end of our conversations, but I'm going to do it at the beginning.
Okay.
I have been after you two guys to play music.
Yes.
Tony on bass, you on guitar, Paul, me on drums. I've been after you guys to do this now for 15 blanking years.
No, he's
and listen,
right.
Paulie, I know you jamming with people that played with and in the Grateful Dead. I'm not putting myself in that position. But dog, why have we not gotten together and at least
I tell you what, no, there's no defense. I got no defense of our actions here. And Creative Tony, I'm ready to commit right now. I'll commit right now to let's get something on the calendar right now.
100%.
It's
always been a proximity thing too. And I mean, if I lived near these two fools up in the North Bay, I'd be knocking down their door saying, please, can we do something?
Well,
and I'll get up there. If I need to pitch a tent for the weekend on Brooksy's backyard or your backyard, Paulie, I will. I will.
Yeah, no, that would be great too. I'd like that. Hey, Creative Tony's sleeping over tonight. It'd be like, oh, should we get the guest room ready? No. He'll be out in the
He's
yard.
outside.
Yeah, he'll be outside. He'll be
He's
outside with
good.
the squirrel. Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. He'll be out there with the coyotes taking care of business. So no, but Brooksy, I'm ready. I'm totally ready. You're right, 100%. We're wrong, 100%. Creative Tony, I'm blaming you. I'm going to attack you. I'm going to turn on you right now, and I'm going to say that you're the. Look at him. I'm going to say that you're the reason this whole thing is getting held up. Creative Tony, when are you available? Rod Brooks and I will work with your schedule. Give me some availability. Let's get into it.
Well, once I get past Little League Draft, as Rod can totally relate to, because I know his boys play ball. But first of all, I want to give a shout out to look at the senior softball game suggestion right here. How about
what do you got?
Live jam on Polymac Particles.
I'm
It's
in.
funny. No, we've talked about this, Rod. Tony and I have
Yes.
actually talked about this and trying to figure out how we could pull something like that off. And softball games. Listen, we're already talking about that. That's something we'd like to introduce when we get a better handle on technology. Because Brooksy, we're still building this thing. And by the way, Rod, if you go to your on the page where we're doing the show, go over to the right-hand side of the screen. If you click that comments column up at the top on the right, you'll see everybody's feedback and you get to interact with if you see all those guys there. So Creative Tony, I'm going to let you unfurl the first question for Rod today, because I got a whole list. I got a list of stuff I want to get into Brooksy. Yeah, I really do. And a lot of my questions are going to be about Dante Whitner, but let's talk football first. Yeah.
I also just want to, first of all, I just want, for those that don't know, I've known Rod, or we've known Rod since 1997.
Unbelievable.
And it all started when Rod got in a U-Haul truck and drove out all of his belongings from Houston, Texas, and drove out to San Francisco. And I think this is pre-cell phone, so you had to stop at payphones, right?
Yeah.
And call into the station, which was the ticket 1050.
Oh my God, I remember that. Wow. Yeah.
Rod would make these stops on the road at payphones and calling in. And then he finally made it. By the way, didn't the U-Haul break down on the way?
Twice.
Well,
Twice.
Once ain't enough. Let's do it twice. Yeah.
So once as soon as I crossed the Colorado River, as soon as I got into California from Arizona, it broke down in this place called Desert Center. And then it got fixed, and I had a flat somewhere on I-5. I haven't been able to figure it out because it was in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But I got out of LA over the Grapevine down into the valley, and it was pitch black because obviously there's nothing there, and had a flat tire, and basically was on the side of the road for 6 hours until daylight. So yeah, it broke down not once but twice. I really wanted to get here, apparently.
Oh man. And the best line you said to me, Rob, was, "Hey man, nice to meet you, but I could be packing this U-Haul back up in 6 months and be on my way back to Houston, Texas." And here we are almost 30 years later, man, and you are firmly entrenched in Bay Area media. And we obviously, many of us couldn't be happier for you, dude. And I'll never forget too, Rod and I, his first night he arrived, and we said, "Hey, let's go get a beer." And I said, "Sure, let's go." But I've never, ever been to a bar where, and maybe this is just me being sounding like a snob or whatever, but where somebody's ordered a Budweiser or a Bud Light. It's just never happened to me. And Rod orders one. I go, there's other options out here. I don't know if and then all of a sudden he got a taste of, what was it? Sierra Nevada was the first one.
Nevada. Yep.
All that stuff.
And
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it changed my life. It was like going from, it was like where I came from, drinking a Bud Heavy. Made it. You know what I mean? I moved up from malt liquor. I moved up from Colt 45 to Old English 800. Once I got a little change in my pocket and I could buy a 6-pack of Bud, you couldn't tell me shit.
Yeah.
So, and the stories Tony is telling is absolutely true. There was a bar in the Marriott on, I think it was on 4th Street.
Wow.
You remember that bar, right?
Oh, I know that spot. Yeah.
And so we went there and I ordered it, and Tony is telling the story the exact right way. And I'm like, what, man? I'm ordering a Bud. I'm that dude. He was like, no, try this. And it was the Sierra Nevada. And it was like going from seeing in black and white to color. It
Well,
completely changed my life.
I got to say a couple of things. Creative Tony's always very critical about other people's beer choices. So to me, that's a penalty flag right there. Rod Brooks wants a light beer. Let him drink a light beer, for Christ's sake. And that goes for me, too. Because you know what my new beer is, you guys? And I got to constantly watch my very delicate waistline. Because, like, if I drink Sierra Nevada, all this, micro beer, micro pub stuff, like I balloon up like Lou Costello. Like I get fat real quick. So I got to drink the light beer, and I don't want the criticism coming at me from Creative Tony. That's one thing. And now number two, just a quick dive into the malt liquor culture and the malt liquor history, because Brooksy, Tony and I had a conversation not that long ago about, do you remember the Billy D. Williams ads for Schlitz? It was Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull, right? Was that
Core 45?
He was doing Colt 45? Okay.
Yes.
So he put that on the map. Now, Rod, I know you're a big music fan too, and I love that about you, because you and I have gone to gigs. We've seen shows together.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember in the early 80s when Van Halen was like at the peak of their powers? Like Alex Van Halen used to do, I'm not kidding, he would play entire gigs with a 12-pack of Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull right next to him. And throughout the show, he would just be opening cans of Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull and just putting them down like while he was playing the show. And I feel like those were the two greatest advertisements for malt liquor. You had Billy D. Williams on one side, you had Alex Van Halen over here. And now, like, malt liquor, I don't even see it anymore. Like, there's no commercials. Does it even still exist? Is it still a thing?
Oh no, it's still out there. It's absolutely still out there. But no, it's not as heavy as it once was. But I love bringing up Alex Van Halen and all the Van Halen boys really drinking Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull. Yeah. That's how you know that they were not faking about their drinking. Okay, they if you drinking Bull, you're looking to get you are looking to get faded as quickly as you possibly can with beer. So shout out to the Van Halen boys. They knew that, hey man, it's time to get it. And no one does it like the Bull, like the commercials used to say.
Oh my God.
Oh no. Yeah, the Bull coming right through the wall. At the end of the
Bull came through the wall.
Right through the freaking wall, man. Just breaking the wall down. I'm here to start partying. Here's a Bull in my living room. Give this guy a beer. All right. So Brooksy.
Real quick, guys, before we move on.
What do you got?
Hold on. I gotta share this with you guys. Come here.
All right. What do you
Bull. Hey, Spike, look at that bottle. It's a special brew that's in a class by itself.
Wow, what taste? 99 bottles of Bull on the wall.
Wow.
Change of pace with the big Bull taste. Don't say beer, say Bull. Bull, Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull.
I'm telling you right now, see, this is the problem. Like, everyone now is trying to figure out what's wrong with the world. How come society's breaking down? Everything's crumbling. All our sacred institutions are falling by the wayside. You know what I'm going to say? Here's my theory. I'm posing a new theory. The reason that the modern world is crumbling all around us is because you don't have ads like that anymore. If we could put a Bull running into somebody's living room, I think the world would be a better place for everybody.
No question. You know, hey, P, I also, before we start talking NFL and Niners with Brooksy, because we have a lot to break down.
I know.
Especially with what happened last night and in regards to locally Brock Purdy discussions. But I just want to say that Rod Brooks, maybe I was responsible for helping steer Rod into different beer selections, but Rod Brooks helped me develop the finest appreciation for the game of dominoes. Oh, I will thank Rod forever. I teach my children, Dominic and Olivia, dominoes now. We play Rod and I, we play on the beach in Tahoe. We'll play at Chambers Pier in Tahoe. But Rod taught me a move where you slam your elbow down and then you smack the domino down. And then he also told me that they're called bones, right? Yeah, exactly. 415 was bones, exactly, right? Like we just got a comment on the side. Thank you so much. Yes, slapping bones. And I just want to thank Rod live in front of everybody for literally showing me the way to dominoes.
Okay, so now you're going to make me counter with my own Rod Brooks greatness story, because here comes another one. And we got to talk Niners. So Creative Tony, don't let us go too far. All right. Now, I've told this story before. I told it multiple times on the Murph and Mac show, but it's so legendary and it's so game-changing that I feel like I got to tell our new audience here in the Paulie Mac particle community. So back in, I think it was either 2000 or 2001, got to be one of the worst Super Bowls ever played. It was the Baltimore Ravens against the New York Giants. And it was that year that the Giants got in with Kerry Collins was their quarterback, probably one of the dullest Super Bowl teams ever to walk the face of the earth, right? And Baltimore wasn't that sexy either because they had a great defense, but their offense was kind of boring. So I go over to, and Rod's having a Super Bowl party, and we go over to Rod Brooks's house, and I walk into his door, and the first thing I see, you got the living room and the TV, and the game is on and everything, or pregame is on, and they're right there, the centerpiece. Tony, in the coffee table in the middle of the room. There's got a bowl of pretzels. I got a bowl of chips. There's a few assorted nuts over there, but there it is, sparkling in the middle, like right on the horizon. A bowl of bacon. A bowl of effing bacon, and I want to applaud that right now. And I stopped in my tracks. I go, hey, Brooksy, what do you got here? What is that, a bowl of bacon? And you were like, yeah, man, how come, where's it written that bacon can't be a snack or an hors d'oeuvre or an appetizer? I'm like, you know what, bro? That's a great call. Pass the bacon. Matter of fact, let's pass this bacon around. So the bacon was such a hot commodity, Brooksy. I got to give you love for that. That was just a game-changing gangster move, the appetizer of a bowl of bacon.
Well, you know what, brother? I appreciate that. That shows you what a 28-year-old pothead can come up with.
Yeah.
Because that was that idea. Funny, though, spent $200 on a Michi's pizza. And what was the first thing to go? Was that bowl of bacon.
Yeah.
So that's the moral of that story.
No, it was a gangster move. It was a gangster move. And then last thing, I actually wanted to share a Creative Tony story since we're talking about moments with Brooksy, Paulie, and Tony and getting meat involved in the story. That's a bonus. Now, a lot of people now, Brooksy, I like to pick on Tony now in a fun way, in a loving way, because he's very sensitive. But Creative Tony has made a lifestyle change. He is now a vegetarian, right? Which is fine. Eat carrots, eat your string beans, whatever you want to do. Go nuts.
Meat for us.
More meat for us. But here's the thing people don't know about Creative Tony. Back in the day, this kid was throwing salami on the frying pan. I've seen him do all kind of meat maneuvers, but the greatest meat maneuver Creative Tony ever pulled off was up at his cabin in Tahoe. Creative Tony's family's got a cabin up in Tahoe, and he was having this big party. This is many years ago, and we're all sitting around. We wipe out all the meat that was on hand. We eat the burgers, we eat the hot dogs, and the steaks. It's all gone, the chicken. And then Creative Tony goes, you know what? Hang on a second. Let's restoke this fire. So we get the campfire going again. Next thing you know, Creative Tony walks out of the house with, ready for this? With a shovel. Wrapped in tinfoil. Yeah. He's got burgers and steaks on the shovel, and he sticks the shovel in the fire. So now we're really cooking meats like cavemen. Now we're seriously getting our Neanderthal on. I just wanted to say, Creative Tony, that was the most gangster shit you ever pulled. A steak on a shovel. And you know what? You cooked it well. That was a good steak when it was all said and done.
Well, thank you, man. That was a cast of characters around that fire pit, because I believe Darren Chan, DC, the director of broadcasting for Giants baseball, was around that fire pit as well. Troy Clarity, I think, for voice of Stanford football.
Oh, yeah. That's my guy.
John Stevens.
Yeah, John
Stevens. All around jackass, John Stevens.
Jackass. All-star. Perennial all-star. Yeah.
I'm Jackass Central, man. Jackass Central. And that was one of those moves. I'm like, you know what? We got this blaze going. Might as well make use of it.
Great.
It was quite a carnivorous crowd, so everybody was diving in head first.
At some point, you guys, I think we should introduce like a show and tell feature on the show, because we can use the visual element. Now, I actually have pictures. I actually have photographs of you with the shovel, and I do. Brooksy, I got a whole bunch of them. Yeah, Darren Chan gave them to me. I think I got a picture of you sleeping, Brooksy, right near the fire on a bench, just sound asleep. Yeah.
Well, you remember what happened is the embers from the fire. This was back when you could have campfires in Tahoe before the world heated up.
Right.
That I was sleeping on the bench, and the embers from the fire caught my fleece, not necessarily on fire, but I was smoldering at one point. And here's the thing. I love you guys, and this is how I know we're family. Y'all let me smolder for a while.
You know what I mean?
Before y'all decided to wake me from my all-induced slumber to let me know that indeed I was smoldering, and it could turn into something bigger. And the only thing that saves us is that we didn't have smartphones to take videos, because we would have absolutely been those people at that time.
Oh, no, it's a good thing.
That's a great call.
I'm glad there was no cell phones that recorded that entire weekend, because there was a lot of taboo stuff going on.
Yeah.
Hey, P, real quick before we get into football, I just want to give shouts out real quick. Dub City, pass the bacon and the Dutchie. We're getting that comment.
Hell yeah, musical
to the left-hand side.
You can't eat your meat you have your pudding, little Pink Floyd. You can't have your meat until you have your pudding. And then there's your band name, Fire Pit. We got our band name already.
Oh,
So
that's not bad. Sounds like a metal
Right?
band. Fire Pit. Yeah.
and, I mean, thank you very much for the comments, you guys. Like I said, you guys are a huge part of the show, so keep them coming. Brooksy, now we got to shift gears into some NFL craziness.
We do.
First of all, your Houston Texans, right? Do they have a shot in Kansas City?
They have a shot because that defense is legit.
Yeah,
And it's not just what you guys and millions of other people saw in the wild card game, but that defense has been lights out all season long, and it's injured too. You know, they don't have Jalen Petrie at safety. You know, they don't have Jimmy Ward, former Niner, who was big for them all season long, given that veteran presence in the secondary. That defense is legit. They put pressure on the quarterback, linebacking core with Azeez Al-Shaair, former Niner. See where I'm going with this?
yeah.
They flow sideline to sideline. D'Amico's got those boys, and they've been hunting for the past couple of years. So
Yes.
with the defense, they have a chance. In Kansas City all year long, they've played games. What's the best way to put it?
They've been skating by.
They've been skating by.
Yep.
They've gotten to the end, and then all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes takes over.
Yeah.
You know, they're not the offensive team that they used to be. The problem is that they have a generational guy in Mahomes who's like Steph, who's like Jordan, who's like Montana, who's like Brady, to where if they can hang around long enough with their defense, because Kansas City's defense is excellent too.
Yeah.
If they hang around long enough with their defense, they got a guy who's an eraser. They got a guy who can make plays. So I think it can be a tight game because KC, even if they're not facing a very good defense, which the Texans have, as I mentioned, KC not necessarily is going to run up the score on you as they did in previous championship iterations of Kansas City football. The problem for the Texans is their offensive line. It's not a very good offensive line.
Yeah.
You know, Larry Tunsil is a penalty machine at left tackle, although he's very good at his job when he's not jumping off sides. But they're terrible at picking up stunts. They're terrible at picking up blitzes. What's the problem with that? The obvious, but Kansas City, they love to blitz. So if the Texans' offensive line can play the majority of the game against Kansas City, as they did in the second half against Kansas City, it'll be close, it'll be tight. And if it's a close and tight game, I'll take the Texans. Why the hell not?
Yeah, and Brooksy, the O line is it's evident in CJ Stroud's play this year. He had it down. He didn't have as good of a year this year as he did last year, and that's if we want to parallel this to the Niners. That's what I want the Niners to focus on is protecting Purdy, because look at what's his name last night? Why am I blanking on the Rams quarterback? Stafford, thank you.
Stafford, yeah.
Thank you. He had protection last night, and he was able to deliver. Right? Look who didn't have protection last night.
I feel bad for Don. I mean, dude, he was getting his ass handed to him the entire game. Sam Darnold.
Yeah, it reminded me of like that scene. That was a sack lunch. We talk
about wedding crashers. Yeah. By the way, Bradley, don't sleep on Bradley Cooper out on the edge too, doing like signals and like getting ready to just come in and take Vince Vaughn to the ground. It's a great moment. Now I got to jump in here real quick too. I want to do a follow-up question to Brooksy about the Kansas City Chiefs, and I want to talk NFC as well, but. You know, I'm almost disappointed that Baltimore is playing Buffalo in this round because I wish the Chiefs had to play both of them. But I guess, Brooksy, what I'd like to know, in your mind, do you think the winner of the Baltimore-Buffalo game can beat the Kansas City Chiefs in an AFC championship on their own field? The only team to ever do that was the Patriots, and that was when they were fully loaded with Belichick and Tom Brady. They went in there, they ran the ball. That was a great game plan the Pats had, but nobody else has ever done it. So, Rod, winner of Baltimore-Buffalo, can they deliver an L to the Chiefs?
I don't know if Buffalo can. I'm not necessarily all that stoked on their defense, although, with their offense and the way that Allen is playing and the way that they're running the ball with their offensive line, it's not an accident that the teams who are left, with the exception of the Texans, all have very good offensive lines. But I can they go in there and play that game tight? Absolutely. I think Baltimore. I said Baltimore, Philly at the beginning of the postseason in the Super Bowl, and I don't necessarily feel all that great about it, especially the Philly pick. But to me, those are the two best teams on both sides of the football. Obviously, what Lamar Jackson is doing is historic, and he's going to end up winning another MVP. But the Baltimore defense has gotten a lot better over the past few weeks, and I think it's just as good of a compliment to obviously what Baltimore does with their offense. If they get Zay Flowers back, and I don't know if he's coming back this weekend or if he'll be back for the AFC Championship game if Baltimore gets there, Zay Flowers is going to make a big difference along with what they can do running the ball. So to me, I think Baltimore has a better chance of going into Kansas City. But the overarching point about Kansas City remains until proven otherwise is that they played a lot of games close to the vest. They haven't really just mashed the gas on anybody offensively. And again, it's because of what they have defensively. And this is not to say that Kansas City isn't that good, because they are. I just find it interesting that, and this has now happened for the last couple of years, because last year they really weren't led by their offense either. They were led by that defense. And we all saw how that turned out in the Super Bowl.
Right.
But, you know, we've gotten used to the Chiefs being a team offensively where, because of Mahomes and Kelsey, you're like, oh, man, offensively, they're a juggernaut. Now they're not that way. They're just they're kind of mid. But when you have Patrick Mahomes and a defense that good and their pedigree, mid will take you a long, long way.
Yeah. Brooksy, Paulie and I were talking yesterday. I think Baltimore has the best chance of knocking off Kansas City. That two-headed monster man of Lamar and Derrick Henry. It's by the way, quick diversion. Famous Lamars, real quick.
Well, can I start? Can I please start?
Well,
can I be?
I mean,
first?
I know what you're gonna say.
I gotta go Lamar. Well, I gotta go Lamar Luttrell in Revenge of the Nerds. He's coming at you with the floppy javelin. Any chance you can bring that up? Can we get a look at Lamar real quick, Tony?
Sure. Sorry.
If he comes running out with that floppy javelin, the javelin just bouncing around. I mean, it's one of the greatest moments in cinema history, as far as I'm concerned. Lamar Luttrell, and I think Brooksy, he might be wearing leg warmers. He might have leg warmers on while he's
wearing leg warmers. Yeah. I haven't seen this movie in a while. Yeah. Positive he's wearing leg warmers.
Leg warmers.
I mean,
Tony, give me a piece of Lamar. Yep, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look at him. There's Lamar Luttrell.
No, it's as good as it gets.
It's the best. The best. Look at that javelin. Are you kidding me?
Thank you, Tony.
Hey, I don't necessarily do Halloween, and I definitely don't dress up. But if I were so inclined, I found my Halloween costume.
Hey, I'll go as Gilbert. We'll do a whole group thing, man. You be Lamar, I'll be Gilbert, and what's the other guy's name, Tony? Gilbert, and you could be Booger.
Lewis,
or Lewis,
Booger.
but maybe Booger would be good. Maybe Takashi. I don't know. We could go in a number of directions. Yeah,
Rod, I would lose my goddamn mind if I was walking down the streets, like trick or treating with my kids, and I saw you turn the corner. As Lamar
with the shorts, with the
holding the javelin.
Bouncing around.
If we do a live jam on Paulie Max Particles, I'll do that for you.
Okay.
Well, hey,
miss.
Shout out Frisco native right here in the comment section. Look at this. Clap your hands, everybody.
And everybody clap your hands. Come on. That's our first jam ever. It's our first live jam. Clap your hands, everybody. And everybody clap your hands. Yeah. Where's Lambda, and Delta Mu. Dude, you moose sure can party. What do you got, Tony?
Yes, they can. I was just going to say, is it wrong that when I watched Lamar play football, I can't help but think of Revenge of the Nerds, that only because of the name?
But here's the thing.
Okay.
You have company because
give it a minute.
Gentlemen of our stature and ilk, people our age, I'm trying to say in a very fancy way, we come from an era where movies and music, and because we were part of the monoculture, the last monoculture, that stuff is embedded in our brains.
That's a good call.
I promise you.
Yep.
When guys our age watch the Baltimore Ravens play and you hear the name Lamar, he's the first person I promise you, I guarantee you it is 50 million people. The exact same thing we all do when we hear the name Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Lamar. Well, Tony, I mean, I threw Lamar Luttrell out there. I don't even know if I have any other Lamars to submit. Do you have?
I mean,
others?
I got Kendrick Lamar, but that's not a
I'll
first
take
name.
it.
That's a last name.
By the way,
I went to Lamar High School. That was the name of my high school.
Nice. There we go.
I think he was a former president of Texas when it was a country back in the 1830s or what the hell ever. But like first name Lamar Jackson and Lamar Luttrell.
Well,
Lamar
and by the
Luttrell.
way, one thing on Kendrick Lamar, he's doing the Super Bowl halftime show this year, which I'm psyched about because I'm glad it's not going to be another like pop star riding around on a horse or something like that. So,
by the way, and real quick, speaking of Kendrick Lamar, Silk Sonic, Brooks, have you heard Silk Sonic? Kendrick Lamar and Bruno Mars doing their thing together. It's incredible. Check out and check it out. It's or no, I take it back. It's maybe not. It's check out Silk Sonic regardless.
Silk Sonic, yeah.
You know Silk Sonic? Maybe it's not Kendrick. Oh, yeah. Maybe I'm getting mistaken. It might not be Kendrick Lamar mixed in there, but I know it is Bruno Mars. And let me look that up real quick. Well,
Bruno Mars, hell of a drummer.
Oh my God! And they did this R&B soul album, and it's outrageous. Oh no, it's Anderson .Paak. Sorry, my bad.
Yes, yeah.
Take it back. But still, check out Silk Sonic when you can.
Yes,
okay, now back to the football discussion at hand here with Rod Brooks. I appreciate Brooksy giving us some time today. And you can always catch Rod Brooks during the footballs. Anything else you got going on right now, Brooksy, you want to promote real quick, other than your work on the pre and post with the Niners?
Follow me on Twitter at Rod Brooks TV. And then, hell, man, it'll be baseball season. So Hits and Brooks will be back in the mix on Giants post-game shows when the season starts. And I mean, I think we are probably like 70 days away from opening day. So baseball's coming, man, whether you know it or not.
Hey, Brooksy, when you kind of transitioned to TV, was that, I mean, by the way, dude, you're great on TV, dude. You're totally at ease. You're totally natural. They've interviewed me a couple times for like the NFL Network and everything, and I'm like very uncomfortable in a TV. I really am. I just don't like it with the lights. I'm always sweating like a pig. But you're all cool and composed. I'm just being honest. It's not my forte. It's not where I'm not comfortable. I've done it a few times, but I don't really like it. Now, Brooksy, you took to it like a fish to water. Did you feel like that was a big adjustment for you, getting away from the radio studio and getting in front of the camera?
Nah. I mean, to me, it's they're obviously different. You know, radio, what it used to be anyway, you could kind of expand and have conversations. You know, what we're doing now is completely different, but you could expand and have a conversation. Television, you got to be tight, you got to be concise. It's as long as you know what you're talking about and you feel comfortable, and it is a comfort thing. You know, I don't mind staring into a camera. I don't mind the lights. I don't mind somebody talking into my ear, you know, giving me cues or what have you. It's just a matter of knowing what you're talking about and then being able to give it out there in sort of digestible bites. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, totally, man. Totally.
The hardest transition for me was not talking like a radio guy.
Yeah.
Start to talk like a television guy while still being the same guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a very good point. Yeah, it is. There definitely is a difference. Now, Brooksy, I have to take this opportunity to ask at least a question about Dante Whitner. Yes, and I promise we'll go back because I still have a lot of Niner questions before we let Rod go. So Dante Whitner, first of all, Brooksy, I love the guy, right? I loved him as a player. But on TV, bro, I can't get enough. Like, I want more Dante. And I love the fashion. I mean, the whole thing. Like, we had him on our podcast once, Brooksy, Dante Whitner, a couple of years ago. When I was at KMBR, Tony and I had Dante on, and he was telling us about his trips to Morocco so he could grab the finest fabrics and then bring them back and have garments made and stuff. He's not playing games when it comes to fashion. Like, he's dead serious. Give me some good Dante Whitner stories. Like, what's he like to work with day in, day out? Like, what's he like when the cameras are not rolling?
He's the same dude off camera. You know, the language may change a little bit. But he's the same dude. Here's what I love about Dante. And I put him in a category Tom Tolbert and with Rick Barry, professional athletes that I've worked with.
Yeah.
And I have gotten so much smarter about football.
Yeah.
Working with Dante and being friends with Dante. I'm seeing things in the game that I didn't see before, and I felt like I knew football.
Yep.
things in the game that I didn't see before. I'm learning things about the game, specifically defensively. I'm learning things about the game that I'd never learned before. And I can't thank him enough, just like I can't thank Tom and can't thank Rick enough, because to me, to have that opportunity to sit next to and work with someone who played their sport at the highest pinnacle. You know, he's a kid from inner city Cleveland, goes to Ohio State, turns himself into the 11th pick in the draft, and or he has an 11-year career, and I forget. I think he was top 15 pick. I forget exactly where. It might have been top 10. You know, that's who he turned himself into.
Yeah,
and had a good NFL career, a very good NFL career. I the admiration I have for him is massive, and to be able to sit and be a colleague of his, right, and learn so much from him is just the best. He's one of the funniest people you will absolutely run across. He is dead serious about his fashion, but he's also he's dead serious about interior design. He's having a new condo built.
Okay.
He's like, Rob,
Okay.
you gotta see this marble we got. We got to see this marble we got. And
he locks those eyes on you. Oh, he gives you that look.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that.
You got to see this marble we getting from Italy. But interior design, traveling the world, finances. He's real big.
See,
he won't mind me. He won't mind me telling this. He's real big on getting at football players and having them take care of their money.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Real big.
Good.
Like, you know, he's part of a not an investment firm. I don't know the best way to put it, but he's part of a firm that gets athletes in and not necessarily teaches them how to invest their money, but teaches them, more to the point, where not to put their money. Like, he's real big on that. So no, man, Dante is you know, he I know people look at his dress and go, I mean, he's out there peacocking. No, that's what he loves.
Nah.
Yeah, no.
You know, that's how he gets your attention. But there's knowledge behind what he's saying, man. And for me to get that knowledge when there's a camera staring at us, and then when we're in the green room watching the game, it's that to me is the best part of doing what I do now. Is I'm going to graduate school when it comes to learning about football.
Yeah.
Hey, Brooksy, one of the best moments I've seen in Dante's career happened this season, because you guys were watching it happen live. I was watching you guys in the post game when it was like news was breaking about Devondre Campbell, the story coming out about him basically saying, I don't want to go back in the game.
Oh, but he was great. He was great.
Dante was amazing in that moment, and he literally says, cut him now.
Yeah, cut him right now.
Yeah. And let me give you sort of an insight to what's happening, because it did happen live. In the post-game show. And when it all happened, the first thing that popped into my mind was, no one wants to hear you talk about this, dude.
Mm-hmm.
They want to hear the dude to your immediate left, because he's the one who played.
Yeah.
Did I have an opinion? Sure. Did I give that opinion? Sure. It was the obvious opinion. Hey, man, that was sucker shit. I didn't say that. I said sucker stuff.
You did.
You did.
And that was good. And I was glad you said that. I was like, that's good. That's some real language right there. Yeah, that was good. I like that.
It was. But everybody's got that same point of view. It's the worst thing you can do as a professional athlete is quit on your team. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, Dante, the floor is yours, because you're the dude that lived that life. And because Dante is very good at it, and it was very real and personal to him. That's why Dante was able to shine in that moment.
Well, I just got to say, you guys are great. It's a great chemistry with Ramirez and Dante, and then yourself, of course. And I hope they keep you guys, that group, intact, because we love it. We watch every week. It's like a ritual in my house. We do. We always tune in before the game. A lot of times, dude, I'll take a picture, a screenshot of whatever Dante's wearing that day, and then I'll send it to Tony. Just not for social media. I'll just be like, dude, look at Whitner today.
So I got to tell you. So I'm sure this is not a surprise to anyone, but we don't talk about what we're gonna wear, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my favorite thing to see Dante to come out, you know, one of the dressing rooms, and so whether I see him in the studio for the first time, or whether we're in the green room, or whether we're in the newsroom, that first vision I get of what Dante is wearing that day is my favorite. It's like Christmas 17 weeks out of the year.
No, we had Dante on our show live. Tony, you were with us actually down in Miami for the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. And Dante came over and he was very understated. He was just wearing like a sweatsuit. He had like a top and a bottom matching Adidas or something. But he went on a whole rap that day about how one of his goals at that time. So this is probably, what was that, 2020, I think it was? 2019. Okay.
So it was
February of 2020.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and so Dante comes over and he was like, I really want to make an effort to kind of accessorize stylish pajamas that you could wear out in public. And he went into a whole rap about wanting to wear nice pajamas like at a nightclub or nice pajamas at a restaurant, like at a 5-star restaurant. And I was like, hey, listen, Dante, you come rolling in pajamas, dude. I'm gonna back you. I got your back on that. So do you remember that, Tony? The whole pajama crusade he was on? Yeah.
Well, I remember I filled in for Murphy Mac one day during the holidays a few years back, Rod, with Dante, and I was obviously in the studio early, and he showed in a little bit before the show starts in like designer pajamas, and I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And I applauded it. I said, Dante,
no, you got to applaud. You applaud.
And I said, Dante, nobody can see right now. Do you mind if we talk about this on the air? He goes, hey, I don't care, man. Yeah.
He's super cool about that. All right, well, Dante, that's our Dante Whitner tribute section of the show. Now, real quick, because we're going to wrap this up. We'll give like another 10 minutes, but I want to do like a little word association with Brooksy. Brooksy, I'll throw some Niner names at you that are in the news for a variety of reasons. Just give me your reactions. We'll do it quick. And Tony, you jump in too if you have anything. I want to start, Rod, with Robert Saleh. I know they just talked to him about the D coordinator position. I guess what I want to ask you is how likely or realistic do you think it is that he comes back in that role again for next season?
I don't know, because it seems like the Jaguars are showing him a little leg and possibly going to offer him that job. And even though it's the Jacksonville Jaguars, it's still one of the 32 best jobs you can get on the planet.
That's it.
So if he is offered a head coaching job, because I think he is 100% head coach material. If he's offered a head coaching job, he'd be crazy not to take it, even if it is the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I couldn't put a number on it, but it seems to me that it's kind of pointing towards Jeff Ulbrich. And here's the thing with the Niners. They need to find a D coordinator that's going to stick for a few years. Not necessarily the turnover from D'Amico to Wilkes to Sorensen and then to whomever. Not that that's been a problem, because I think it's been more of a talent issue and an inability to stop the run because of what they don't have in their interior defensive line issue. I just think this turnover of coaches and voices and ideas, I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing to keep doing it. And if Saleh comes back, that's great. But when is he going to be up for another head coaching job? Probably not. Probably within the next couple of years. This is not to say that Jeff Ulbrich is not head coach material.
Right.
I think that there's a better chance that if Ulbrich gets here, he stays as a defensive coordinator for a few years before he then moves on to another head coaching job.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. That's a good answer, Brooksy. That all is very, very rational. I'm going to do one more, Tony, and then you jump in if you got a few. But I want to ask Brooksy about Deebo Samuel, too, because I got to just be honest, man. I was really disappointed. I was really disappointed with what I saw this year. And I felt like now, again, I could easily be wrong about this. I'm not in the locker room. I don't really know what's going on day to day down there. But I do know, like, the eye test told me that's not the same player we've seen in San Francisco the past few seasons. Like, he was getting he became kind of a possession receiver where he would make the catch and then immediately get tackled, where in the past he would break 1, 2, 3 tackles, drag guys down the field. And I felt like his heart wasn't in it as much. And then when he got in the news, Brooksy, late in the year, I forget which week this was, but when he made noise about he's not involved enough, then the next week, Brock Purdy hit him right in the numbers and he dropped the ball. He dropped the pass. I felt like in the aftermath of that, he started playing his ass off. Like he suddenly became Deebo Samuel again, but I'm a little concerned with like the inconsistency. So I guess I'm just asking, do you see him coming back, or do you think Deebo's on his way to a different team next year?
I think he comes back. I think, though, he and Kyle Shanahan, who get along famously, I think they need to have a sit down and be real with each other about who Debo is and how he's used.
There you go.
And let me start this by saying that I give Debo I think the thing he did with Jake Moody, I thought that was bullshit.
It was. Yeah.
It's completely unnecessary.
Yep.
Okay. I
Yep.
know a lot of people applauded it. I completely disagree with it. There's a time and a place for it. That wasn't the time and the place for it. And quite frankly, dude, before, even before the drop that I'll get to in a second, you weren't playing all that well to be running up in anybody's face, even if it is Jake Moody.
Exactly.
You weren't playing that well to be running up in somebody's face telling them to lock in because, your season damn sure didn't look to be locked in. But I thought that after Debo had that game where he dropped that pass and was terrible after being vocal about not getting the ball,
Right.
I thought the way he rebounded, that told me a lot about him. Because he could have very easily just continued to decline and go into a shell after wanting the ball, saying I need the ball, getting it, dropping it, and having that terrible game. Probably the worst game of his career. So I give him credit for rebounding. But he's not the same guy as you mentioned. And I think Kyle Shanahan needs to understand that. And I think Deebo Samuel needs to understand that. Man, your route running is not, even when he was really, really good, his route running was at best.
Right.
Now, your route running is still not all that great. And the guy that you were a few years ago is not that guy.
Yeah.
Is it because you are not in the shape that you need to be in right now? Should Kyle Shanahan use you in a different way? Giving the ball to Debo in the backfield, hey man, that's as dead as Napoleon.
Yeah,
that's
agreed.
That's Kyle Shanahan has to change.
Yeah.
But Deebo Samuel, again, he has to change some things about himself. So I think that Debo we saw at the end of the season, you're not going to get that every week. Just give me that once every 3 to 4 weeks over the course of a 17 plus game season. If you get to the playoffs, that's still a dangerous Debo. But they just have to, in my estimation, they got to come together and have a real grown man conversation about who Deebo Samuel is right now. And he's got to be honest with himself. Kyle Shanahan, I'm sure, is going to be honest with him. But they got to figure out how to make this relationship work going forward, because the guy that we saw a few years ago, not for lack of trying, I'm never going to say that about him until I have evidence of it, and I don't have evidence of it. But that guy from a few years ago ain't that guy anymore. But you know what, man? Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Father Time is undefeated. Hey, Brooksy, really quick, back to Bob Saleh. I want to put something on the screen here because I had heard that that this guy was interested in Bob Saleh.
Look at that grill, dude. Look at bro.
Just
what are you going to do? What are you going to say about? I mean, there he is.
Yeah, there he is, man. I don't know, Bob or Robert Saleh. You might want to look at the Jags gig or come back home.
Again, no, the Raiders. Obviously, that does not mean that's a good thing. That's still an NFL head coaching job. And if the Raiders, if I'm Robert Saleh and I'm looking at Max Crosby, I'm like, shit, I can work with that. And if they get Shador, hell, man, I can work with that.
How about that tight end they got? They got that stud tight end from
Bowers,
Georgia.
Bowers. Out of Napa.
He's a wrecking machine, that kid.
Yeah, you look at that and go, I can work with that. I mean, as bad as that situation is with the Raiders and the Jaguars and the Jets, and hell, the Cowboys for that matter. Those are still NFL head coaching jobs. And I just you a much better man than me if you turn down an NFL head coaching job.
No,
that's good call.
100%. And all that stuff you said about Saleh in Jacksonville, you're totally correct about that. I mean, it's a very prestigious job, and I see Saleh as a head coach as well. I really do. Yeah. I think he can make a really good NFL head coach. By the way, real quick shout out to G-Man Music saying, boys, don't look now, but it's Creative Tony who actually has the Saleh look today. It's not a bad call. I've never heard that comparison, but Tony, you do have a little Saleh in you. I got to be honest. There's a little bit of a vague resemblance there.
All gas, no brake.
Yeah, totally.
We got to get you in the sun now.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's true. That goes for me as well.
But you watch darker, Robert Saleh is.
if you watch that Hard Knocks, though, the Jets Hard Knocks with Saleh and Ulbrich, and I mean, that was a very entertaining season of Hard Knocks. I mean, obviously the Aaron Rodgers story.
Yeah,
Paulie
just until your guy Rodgers came along and polluted the whole situation and got his coach fired. Now the whole team's falling to pieces. I'm not a Rodgers guy, Brooksy. I mean, I respect and appreciate the resume, but I think he's a douchebag. All right, so let's.
Hey, real quick, Paulie, I wanted to ask Rod real quick. Rod, the game's coming up this weekend. I'm just gonna ask you quickly, who you think's gonna win the game? Okay, all right.
Speed,
so first,
speed round,
Saturday 1:30, Houston at KC. Okay, not point spreads, nothing.
I'm
just
throwing up the H's, baby.
Let's
go.
All
day. Let's go, Texans.
Let's go.
Texans.
I like that.
Parade. They're gonna shock the world, baby.
Yeah, I'm throwing up H's too. I'm on board, dude. I'm all about the Texans this weekend. I'm with Brooksy on that. All right, Tony, keep going.
Well, real quick, Brooksy, you want to feel old? Zach De La Roca just turned 55 yesterday, by the way.
Oh, did he?
He said Bulls on parade.
Hey, man. Hey, it's all like Brooksy just said. Father Time's undefeated. They got the Rage Against the Machine guys as well. You know,
when we're done, I'm just gonna walk to the ocean, walk into the ocean, never to be heard from again. What's the point in living if we're going to eventually die?
No, it's not a bad. It's not a bad way to go. Walking out into the Pacific is not the worst way to go. I might join you for that.
Oh, look at Dom Peralta. Look at Rod rallying around his family. Another Rage Against the Machine quote. Nice, Dom. Right. Dom.
Yeah,
good stuff. Oh, okay, fine. Okay, so let's go. Let's go. H's, baby, H's. Okay.
Baltimore.
Well, no, let's go Saturday 5:00. Washington at Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I would love to roll with the Commanders, but Detroit, you could clearly see that they got something special going on.
They do.
They do. But I feel like Washington is playing with like reckless abandon. Like we're gonna come in here and you know, like. I don't even know how to explain what it's just a vibe. It's a vibe thing with them.
It's a vibe, man.
They do have the kind of they don't know any better. They don't know that.
Yeah, right.
You know, Jaden Daniels doesn't know that he's not supposed to be this good at this point.
Right.
The Commanders don't know they're not supposed to be at that point. I will say this: I don't know what the number is, but take the over because it might be a defense optional game. We know that Detroit can score some points, and they've gotten a little bit better defensively as of late, but that's a team with their offense. Washington, we know what they're capable of offensively, so points will be put up. There's no doubt about that.
And also, Brooksy, Dan Quinn, if you're on the road with a rookie quarterback and you have a chance to kick a field goal to make it a 1-point game, don't go for it on 4th down again. Please kick the field goal.
You're still pissed about that. You've been talking about that for like 3 days. Yeah.
What do you do? Like, I mean, they ended up winning the game because Baker had fumble issues. But it's like you could have made that a 1-point game.
But he was going for field goals on 4th down from the beginning of the game. And
that's right.
It's similar with Dan Quinn. And why? What were a couple of the reasons that the Lions lost against the Niners in the NFC Championship game? Because he betrayed his ideals. He should have gone for it on 4th down. But he kicked the field goal at the end of the first half.
That's right.
And then he was chasing the Dragon after that. Going forward down in the second half, and he blew up on him. I think he learned from that lesson. So I say, Tony, I'm with you. I'm still grasping and grappling with not taking the points. I'm understanding it more, even though I'm still like, take the points. But Dan Quinn, remember they had 4th and 1 or 4th and whatever in the red zone. And he went for it. They didn't get it, but he didn't let that decision deter him and the team for the rest of the game. So if that's who you are, you still have to be who you are. So I can respect it in that regard. But yeah, I'm with you. It's still one of those where you're like, really? We just don't take points no more, huh?
Hey, right. And also, but the Commanders are getting 10 points in Detroit. They're
that's a big spread
underdog. That's a
big spread.
It's a big spread, but that game I could see that game getting out of hand because I agree. Like the Commanders is a great story. They got a great young quarterback, but I think that whole fairy tale kind of comes to an end, and reality is going to smack them upside the head when the Lions. Because I agree with you, Brooksy. I think the Lions have something special. They might be a team of destiny. Real quick, before we get to Sunday's matchups, and then we got to let Brooksy go because we're getting into bonus minutes now. But it was Dub City on the comments line who I couldn't resist. I got to address this one. He goes, guys, Creative Tony, you put that picture of Mark Davis up there. Now the obvious follow-up question, who plays Mark Davis in the movie? I have an idea. I'm going to throw this out there. I'm going to say Randy Quaid, the guy who plays Cousin Eddie. Ooh. If you just fitted him for one of those Mark Davis wigs with the bangs, I think he can pull it off. I'm just throwing it out there. Randy Quaid.
Do you guys remember Tropic Thunder, the movie Tropic Thunder that probably that couldn't be made today?
Yeah.
The character, I feel like the character Simple Jack was Mark Davis as a kid.
Dude. Wow. Chasing butterflies with a mallet, stuff like that.
Simple Jack. I mean, when you guys keep talking, I got to pull up a picture of Simple Jack because
it's probably going to get us in trouble. This is where the show could get canceled right here.
Hey,
We're getting on Simple Jack.
If you didn't know that Mark Davis was Al Davis's son, and you showed his picture, Mark Davis first, and then showed Al Davis's picture, they wouldn't believe you.
No, I know.
They wouldn't believe you.
I know, dude. Mark Davis.
I mean, there you go.
Easy does it here, T. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Here we go. Jesus.
I wonder if Al Davis, you guys, of course, remember Smokey the Bandit, right?
Get him out of
You remember how Jackie Gleason, how Sheriff Buford T. Justice would talk to his simple, dumb son? You know, basically like, you couldn't have come from my loins, and when I get home, I'm going to punch your mom in the mouth. I promise you that Al Davis and Mark Davis had the exact same relationship that Buford T. Justice had with his son and Smokey and the Bandit. I promise you.
It blows my mind that Mark Davis leaves a barber.
Easy.
Good.
No,
but that's a conscious decision, Paulie.
No, I know. No, he's making his own choices. He's like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. Yeah.
I mean,
no, it's nuts. Yeah.
Him the mirror like every barber does. Yeah. And Al Davis, Mark Davis puts that mirror up to his face and he looks at it and he's like, I'm gonna kill these bitches today. Look at
I know.
He looks at himself in the mirror and he's like, I'm the coldest cat y'all ever seen.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Tony. There is an alternate approach to this thing where you look at him and you go, you know what? That's some gangster shit that he's doing. Where he's just going like, here's how I'm gonna roll. I'm leaving the house like this. I'm throwing on my white sweatsuit. And by the way, he's got like a knockout girlfriend too. So somebody's buying into his act. I mean, here we go. What do you got now? I'm afraid. There he is. There he is.
Come on.
No.
He looks at that in the mirror and he's like, I'm the coldest cat y'all have seen thus far.
Yeah,
can't nobody touch me.
I will never talk trash about someone's like what the looks that they're born with and their physical makeup.
No, you can't
when
do
you
that.
have a conscious decision, and like Rod said, you're at the barber, you're in the chair, and you pull up the mirror and you go,
Yeah, but Tony, look how happy he is. Look at how he's full of joy. He's overloaded with joy. He couldn't be happier. He's found the secret to happiness. I'm the guy who's out here slow chasing.
Haven't won a playoff game since the earth started cooling. Yet he's like, my shit is set.
That's it. And by the way, and last thing on the Raiders, shout out to their stadium in Vegas. That place is really nice. It's a kick-ass stadium. All right, we got to let Brooksy go. So Tony, hit him with the final two Sunday games, and we'll wrap this up.
Okay, yeah. So Sunday at noon, LA at Philly. If I'm Eagles, well, go ahead.
LA's hot, and the defense we saw last night sure makes the Niners' last game against the Rams and makes a little bit more sense. What was that game? 12-6? The Rams defense just absolutely put the Niners offense, just stuffed them in a locker. That Rams defense, that front, they can get pressure with four.
They can.
And they can get pressure with four. It's a luxury for them to send five. That's where the Niners need to get back to defensively. They have to be able to get pressure with four. They've got to get better with the middle of their defense, defensive tackles. That Rams defense is hot. The defense is hot.
Yep.
The offense is hot.
Yep.
Like I said earlier, before the playoffs, I had Philly and Baltimore. Rams going to Philly, they win that game because the Eagles offensively, what we saw this past weekend in the wild card, and really what we've seen all season long, it's not good. It's not good at all. So if the Rams can tackle Saquon Barkley, they will be more than happy to put that game on Jalen Hurts' shoulders because Jalen Hurts ain't scaring nobody.
No.
So the Rams win that game.
Rams are they're plus 6, by the way. They're getting 6 points on the road.
And I agree. I agree with Brooksy. They looked so good last night on both sides of the ball. They were totally inspired, playing at a really high level. And I agree, Brooksy. I think they can go into Philly and surprise the Eagles. I really do.
All you got to do is just push the Eagles a little bit. Push them a little bit. Get them fighting. Get them feeling, not at ease like the Niners did when they went to Philly the last time. Not championship game, but the game after. After that. And Philly will absolutely crumble. Absolutely.
All right.
You got to get under a Sirianni's skin. That's fun.
Well, this
to
is
watch
that.
too.
I'll tell you what. If the Rams beat the Eagles on Sunday, that's probably Sirianni's last game, or it'll certainly be talked about his
That's
future
good
going
call.
forward.
What
Yeah,
do you like people talk about Kyle Shanahan should be on the hot seat? Get out of here with that nonsense.
yeah,
That
seriously.
guy.
Yeah.
That guy's on the hot seat.
Yeah, and by the way, if they fire Sirianni, take Fat Dom with you on the way out the door. I'm tired of all this celebrity status for Fat Dom. Guy doesn't do a damn thing for me, and he attacked Greenlaw, and I can't have that. One last thing, Creative Tony, Baltimore
at Buffalo, the home dog Bills. They're 1 point home dogs. The Buffalo Bills hosting the Ravens.
Wow.
That game is going to be a dogfight, man.
That's a great game. Great matchup.
Yes.
The Ravens lost the AFC Championship game last year in Baltimore against Kansas City because the Ravens forgot who they were. They stopped running the GD football. They ain't going to stop running the football now.
They ran it 50 times last game.
And they're probably going to run it 50 times against Baltimore. They're going to run the ball. And like I said before, their defense, which was not as good at the beginning of the year, and not what we've gotten used to with the Ravens, they're back to playing championship defense now. So the Ravens, they win that game.
You're nice. Yeah, well, I think so. Brooksy, I think so too, man. I don't think you can stop Lamar and Derek. Derrick Henry. I don't think you can stop both.
The only thing that stops the Ravens is the Ravens, and I don't think
you're right.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. Great matchups all weekend long. Listen, Creative Tony, the time flies when you're with Paulie Brooks, because we can keep going. But I know everybody's busy. We gotta let Brooksy go back to his Brooksy life. And yes, you got something, Creative Tony. What do you got?
You know the whole Utah. Give me two. I got two quick things for Brooksy, and I'll make them quick. I'll make them quick. Okay. Yeah. All right. It's what is it? 12:11. We'll try and be out of here by 12:15 max. Okay. Everybody, thanks for joining us. By the way, in the comment section, you guys freaking rule.
Thank you very much. Yes,
Brooksy, you're an amazing follow on Twitter, and especially when there's any news about the Cowboys. Okay. So now, Dion, do you want to see Dion as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys?
Absolutely. Yeah. I want that circus. The biggest, brightest, loudest circus you can find. Because that makes their eventual downfall, it makes it that much more spectacular.
Yes.
The Cowboys basically have the Cowboys and the Raiders have the exact same playoff history over the last 25 to 30 years. But what makes the Cowboys playoff failures so exciting to a cat like me is that because it's like Cowboys, and then they do absolutely nothing. So yeah, I want Dion to go there. I want everybody to start talking about them, and then I want the Cowboys to do what they eventually always do, which is to not win a goddamn thing.
Well, that's it.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Real quick, and just a shout out to this guy, real quick for you, Rod. There you go.
What do you got?
There's your guy. Look at Jerry Jones. Come on.
Geez. Dude, your visuals today are it's a comedy show, dude. Look at it. By the way, look at the teeth. Look at the teeth on that SOB.
The teeth, amazing.
The teeth are flying.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Brooksy. Last thing, because we usually do a segment called Tony's Top 3, and we wanted to do that with you, where 3 questions, and the third question is a non-sports question. So I'm just going to go straight to the non-sports question. Hypothetical, but if you had a chance to sit down and have dinner with Chuck D, just the two of you. Now you pick the place, House of Prime Rib, you pick the place, wherever, right? You and Chuck D, or have LSU win a title, national championship. What would you choose?
Oh, Chuck D all day long.
All right.
I've been so lucky. I'm looking at my office. I'm looking at all the press passes and concert tickets, shows that we've all gone to.
Yep.
I've been so lucky in my life to do things I never thought I would do and meet people who I never thought I would meet. Like I know Steve Young. That's the craziest shit of all time.
Right. It is. I know.
I can pick up my phone and call Steve Young right now.
I know.
Wild.
Right.
One person, Chuck D, I've never got a chance to meet. And quite frankly, my entire broadcasting career has been aimed to see if I can meet Chuck D. Because I have so many questions for him, but more than anything else, I want to thank him. I want to thank him for the knowledge that he's given me first and foremost, and the music that the knowledge was contained in. So yeah, it's Chuck D all day long.
Yeah, beautiful.
Great answer, bro. And I would answer the exact same way. I got to go Chuck D all day, 10 times out of 10. And everything you said about Chuck, I feel the exact same way.
And that's why we're brothers.
Yeah, dude. We saw, dude. Brooksy, just for the audience out there, Brooksy and I, we went to a Public Enemy gig together. We saw Public Enemy down at the what was the name of that joint, Creative Tony, on Harrison, the Maritime Hall.
Maritime Hall.
That's right.
Yeah,
Maritime Hall.
Yeah.
They
We saw
used
Run
to-
DMC there. Were you with me when we saw
yes,
Run DMC there?
yes. And that was a pretty popular concert venue for a few years, but it's not in operation anymore.
Bad Brains played there.
Nice, dude.
Maritime Hall was the spot. Oh yeah.
I
Shout
saw
out Nate
James
York.
Brown play there.
That's incredible. Seriously, how was that
Yeah.
gig?
It was incredible. It was outrageous. It
Yeah,
was-
James
I-
Brown.
I can't put it into words, really.
Well, listen, just to make sure that we are men of our word, Creative Tony, you said 1:15, it's 1:14 and change, so it's time to wrap this up. Brooksy, thank you so much for the time today, dude. It's great talking to you. Hold on.
Yes.
That's a Houston native talking right over there. That's Rod Brooks.
I
Hey,
love
Brooksy,
you guys. I love you guys so much.
Love you too,
love you
bro.
too,
Thank
man.
you. And Creative Tony, we'll be back here tomorrow. We'll iron out the start time tonight, and we'll send out a tweet because I'm not sure. We're going to 2 tomorrow? Okay.
Yeah, we're going at 2 p.m.
We'll kick it at 2. And Brooksy, thanks again. We'll see you on pre and post with the Niners and the Giants and Creative Tony. I'll see your clean shaven face tomorrow. Peace, y'all. Enjoy your Tuesday.